What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about repairing your credit from A to Z. This is like the foundational work of how we repair credit, but I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to do to start your credit repair process. I know I say it a lot, and I'm going to keep repeating it over and over as long as I'm on this platform. Or if I'm speaking in front of groups, is that we have to pay attention to our credit. Credit is important. Credit is the foundation of you and your family being able to build wealth. Number one, wealth right now, and then to be able to get to generate generational wealth. Trust me, it is like the foundation. I don't care what other people claim about setting up business credit and all of that stuff. All of that stuff is important, but let me tell you, everything starts with your personal credit. No one is going to loan anyone any money business-wise without finding out how they handle their personal life. And if you are not handling your personal life in a good way, how are people going to trust you with their money to invest? So I want to briefly go through. This is like the foundation of what we do here, but this is going to help you to be able to get, start working on your credit. I'm going to tell you what you need to do, and then I'm also going to, I always throw my little piece in there about the mindset, because everybody's situation is different. It depends on what you're looking to do based on the journey that you're going to go through with your credit repair process. Some people have short period of time. They need to get some stuff done because they got immediate goals, and some people have a little bit of time, and so the process is going to be a little bit different. So first thing that we got to do, and we're going to talk about repairing your credit from A to Z. First thing we got to do is you got to get a copy of all 3 credit reports. For some reason, people are still clamoring to the free sites and getting, partial reports, incomplete reports. I relate it like this. If you're going to get your credit reports, why not have everything that you can get? There's already stuff that they can hide from us that the lenders can get that we can't see. But if you get a paid monitoring service, you will be able to get all of the data that you will be able to utilize to repair your credit. Because if the ultimate goal is, hey, I want to see everything so I can see what I need to do, why wouldn't it be important to you to be able to get complete credit reports? It'll be like going to work on something with half of the tools that you would need. And I know that you wouldn't want to do that. So yes, it's going to cost some money to get your reports. But if the ultimate goal is for you to be able to get your credit to where you want it to be, have excellent credit, have good credit, whatever level you're trying to achieve, you need to have all of the tools. So if you don't have your credit reports, you can go to a website that we recommend. Go to your3scores.com, grab your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit reports. And then step 2, the next thing that you want to do is you want to review your reports, the full reports. You want to review the whole thing on there. You want to look at your personal data. And I'm going to change my pen here to my red. There we go. So you want to review your personal data. You want to review your addresses, and you want to look at your job. I was just looking at my refresh on my reports, and it was showing my place of employment. And because I have 4 different companies, I was like, it's kind of strange that it still has the first business that I ever started back in 1990. Like, people will be like, man, you worked at that place for 34 years, going on 34 years. So I decided to leave that like it is on there. But you want to make sure your employment, if you had previous employment, you want to get that information removed because it's not accurate anymore. You want to check your addresses, and you want to get rid of old addresses. You want to just have your current address. You want to check your personal data. When you're checking your personal data, You want to make sure that your birth date is right. You want to make sure that your name is right. And if you see that your name has like where someone misspelled it, or it says like mine, Stephen A. Williams, and on some of them might say Stephen Williams. Well, I always go by Stephen A. Williams. And so I have that corrected. And this is a weird thing that the algorithm looks at, is that if you have incorrect spelling, if you look at your credit reports right below there, and on some of those free reports, they don't show you this, but right below, it'll have your the also known as, or alias. And the way the algorithm is reading that, it's not a person reading it. The algorithm is reading it. And it's like, this individual could be going out there getting credit utilizing this name. And that can have the algorithm work against you for, number one, getting approved for credit, and then number two, just holding your scores down, because it's like you have two identities. And that is true, 100% true that can happen. So you want to make sure that you're on your personal data. I just erased some stuff here. That's collection. Just erased it with my arm here. Your personal data, so you want to make sure that you don't have the aliases. You want to clean that up. We always do that here at the Credit Repair Shop. We clean that up for individuals. And then your addresses and your job. Make sure that stuff is right. Next thing is you want to do a full review of your reports for any inaccurate information, unfair information, and duplicated information. I'm going to go through the three. So inaccurate information will be just straight up, you look at it and it's like, this is not accurate. This information that's on my report is not accurate. Now, let me give you some examples real quick. Inaccurate information could be balances. Like, say for instance, you paid off an account, and then you look at it and it's like it's still open on another report. Like, this report says it's paid off, that report says it's not paid off, but the balances might still be on one report and not on another report. That can happen because one misconception is that all three credit reports are like communicating with each other and saying, hey, they did this, so change it on my report. Your report says this, okay, well then I'm going to change it on TransUnion. Or Experian says this, okay, we're going to change that on the other, on Equifax and Experian or TransUnion. It doesn't work that way. The information is uploaded, and I don't know why this happens. Maybe it's because the way that the data is transmitted is different, is accepted different with each of the three major credit reporting agencies, that information could either be entered in incorrectly or it could be accepted incorrectly. Like, so think about it this way. Say that, this is the way it's done. Say that there's like an Excel file and it has the data. It has all the payments that you've made, all the information that they're going to submit, and they have it here for TransUnion, they have it for Equifax, and they have it for Experian. So when that information is submitted to the three companies, it could be the same data, but because each company accepts it a different way, they wrote their own programs for accepting information from furnishers. So the way that it would be 100% accurate is that if the furnisher, the creditor, was to say, okay, here is the file for, like, we're not going to make one file and then upload them one at a time to the bureaus. We're going to say, okay, check to make sure that this file is 100% right for upload to TransUnion. Make sure that this file is 100% right to upload to Equifax. Make sure that this file is correct for upload to Experian. This is something that I witnessed with an upgrade that I did with my software with QuickBooks, is where we're able to upload customers' data into QuickBooks. So the old way that we used to do it is we used to just, the person who does my invoice would just type it in. They got to do the addresses, they got to do the phone number, email, all of that stuff had to be placed in there manually. Now we get to upload it, but I noticed that if any data point was wrong, it could sometimes accept the upload, but when the invoice person started to do the invoice, it was like, it's missing something. And that was because the Excel sheet that was put together for that file there had something was out of line with the I won't get into too much detail, but something was out of the line with the tabs that took in the information. And I believe that that's something that happens from time to time with the furnishers, the creditors who upload, is that they'll just upload the same file without taking into account that no, when you upload it to Equifax, it needs to be done a certain way with the tabs at the top, so it can accept it a certain way, so it can read it a certain way. The same with Experian, or vice versa. That's where I think a lot of the issues come up. So you need to look for that inaccurate information across the board, even with your positive accounts, because you can have positive accounts where you're like, why is my TransUnion score so low and my Equifax and Experian scores are so high? And it could be solely because of the way the information is placed on a positive account. On a positive account, the way the information is placed in there inaccurately could make your scores go down. Now, looking at unfair information. Unfair information. This could be a negative account where it's like we'll utilize it for a debt collector. They'll put it in there like you actually had an account with them. Like you actually had an account. This is one of the things that debt collectors are doing now to really put the pressure on the people, is that they will place an account, a collection account, on your credit reports, and then they will place it as an open account. And then they're going to send you that, some type of letter saying, hey, do you want to settle this? This is after they sent the 30-day letter. They're going to send you a letter saying, hey, do you want to settle this account, blah, whatever. They're going to try to see if you want to work out something with that. And so they have it as an open account. It's making it like you had an account with them. And then if they don't get any communication with you, nothing is worked out. You didn't respond to them. But even if you responded to them, if you don't work out something with them, it's not going to matter anyways, because what they're going to do is that unless you pay it, what they're going to do is they're going to make it a closed account, and then that's going to make your score go down even more. So first, they're going to have the open account on there, and people see this. They're like, what happened with my credit? They saw on there, we see this when we pull down the report, and we're like, they put a collection on your reports. They put it as an open account. And then what they did is they closed that account. So you're going to get hurt when they put this as a collection the first time, and then you're going to get hurt a second time when they make it a closed account. And I'm not saying a closed account from you making a settlement with them or paying it. I'm talking about they just do that because they know it's going to be 2 hits. Even if you had a good account. See, let me clear this up for anyone who's not following me all the way. If you have a good account, say you had a credit card, you paid it, you were like, hey, I'm just going to pay it off. I don't want to use it no more. I want to stay out of using credit cards. When you close that account, your score is going to go down. They know this, so they're utilizing the algorithm to put more pressure on people to try to get them to pay their accounts. And if there's no communication, there's no settlement or no nothing, regardless if there is, it's going to be an issue. So regardless, like this is just a strategy that they're using to just pull people's scores down. So they'll place it on there as an open account, and then a month or 2 later, after they've given time to try to see what you're going to do, they close it and the scores drop even more. Next thing here is we have duplicated accounts. We see this a lot where you will go down the credit reports and it won't even have the creditor's name on there. And I see this a lot with debt collectors. You'll look on there and it's like, it'll say account, and then it'll have an amount, or it'll say collections, like who is the collection? Who is the company? Who is this? And you'll see that a lot. And when we peel back everything and we look at where this account is and what it is, it was a duplicated account. It was an account, so it's making it look worse. It's like you have this collection with a medical, and then you have a medical bill on there, and they can't place it on there. It's got to be one or the other, so you can know what you even got to deal with. If it's a let's just look at it this way. If it's a collection account from a medical provider, either the medical provider would have to put the information on there and the collector can't put the information on there, or the collector has to put the information on there for the medical provider and the medical provider can't put the information on there. They both can't put the information on there because we know, just because of the way the algorithm is written, that if you have one medical bill but they have it on there 2 times, what is going to happen to your score? What is the algorithm going to think? Is the algorithm going to be like, oh, this account is the same account, so don't punish them. Let's just, punish them 1 time, not 2 times. And you might be saying, well, maybe the algorithm is reading that. Well, this is. Let me tell you why the algorithm won't read it that way. When you call the collection agency, what do they always say? What's your file number? Have you ever noticed what the file number is on your credit report? What the account number is? It's going to be their file number. So it's like you have 2 different accounts. So look at that. Scan through. Go through slow. This is going to take work. Don't think it's not going to take work, but it's good. When you do the work now, you reap the benefits later. Do the work now, you reap the benefits later. So let's dig in. Remember, to grab your credit reports, go to the3scores.com. The link is below this video. And if you do that, we will give you a free review also. So look for the duplicated accounts. Now, next thing is we're going to look at the collection. We're going to look at the charge-offs, bankruptcies, and I got etc. for other types of accounts that might be on there that are negative. This is focusing on the negatives. So let's just start with the collections. With the collection accounts, we're going to look at what type of, where they're from, who was the original creditor. Are they putting it just like what we were worried about looking at with the duplicated account? Are they collecting it for the original creditor, or do they have the account and they're trying to come after you for it? Usually when it gets to this situation where it's on your credit reports, they've already done the 30-day dunning letter. So they've already done their work on what they got to do legally to place the information on your credit reports. So you have to be, so knowing where you're starting here is you're going to be looking at working on challenging them directly, but we'll get into that in a second. And then looking at what you got to do to resolve it. The next thing is the charge-offs, which is the same thing. Let me tell you, it could be in a charge-off status before it's sold. Like, say, for instance, you have a credit card, you haven't been paying it for 6 months. They're going to put it into a charge-off status because it's not a performing account anymore. They have to do that legally. They have to do that to make their books correct. And then you would be looking at what they're going to do. Like, it might be with a collection account. It might be still with the original creditor and they haven't sold it yet. I'm going to tell you how to deal with those. Bankruptcies. You have bankruptcies on there. Just so you know, bankruptcies are not placed on there by the bankruptcy trustee or the bankruptcy court or downtown or wherever it's all done. This is information that is pulled in from data providers like LexisNexis. They provide information to the 3 major credit reporting agencies. There's other agencies that they pull in from also. Dealing with bankruptcies, the number one strategy that I always use for dealing with bankruptcies is to look at if they have all of the complete information on there, and then you're going to challenge how they got the information for the bankruptcy. It takes work. It's a lot of back and forth. You're going to have to see what results come back. But basically, this is going to be a challenge with getting documents from the bankruptcy court. If you can get any response back from them about placing that information on your credit reports and then utilizing that information to get the bankruptcy removed. But also, you're going to do your challenges through the credit reporting agencies, because you're going to, you don't want to get penalized for having that bankruptcy on there. And then the next thing, and then anything else that you see that's negative. But I mean, this really does take care of it all. It could be child support, stuff like that. And there's things that you can do to get the child support removed off your credit reports. All right, so now the next thing is you're gonna have to take action and put a game plan in place, and that's what we're gonna be talking about right now. Because you can be as prepared as you want to be, but if you don't take action, if you don't have a game plan, if you don't know where you're at with your situation, you got to know where you're at with your situation. What I mean by know where you're at is that, do you need to get this done immediately, or do you have time to do it? Because the goal is to have excellent credit. Now let me break this down, because every one of you that have bad credit right now are saying to yourself, I want to do it immediately. Well, let me break down immediate. Let me break down immediate. If you could repair your credit right now, like in 30 days, and you had collections on your reports, charge-offs and medical bills, and you had to pay some of your collection. Let's just say you just need to get this done in 30 to 45 days. And you had, let's just say, 5,000 in collections. And you could, work out a deal and settle all of those collections and get all that information removed for $2,500. Let's just say you got medical bills. They're over the $500 threshold. So like the one we just did one for a client. He had $2,100 in deductible for a shoulder surgery. We did a settlement for $1,100. Are you in the mindset of being able to do that? That's what I mean by immediate. See, a lot of people say, I want to get my credit fixed fast. And then when you start matching up and you look at their situation, it's like, okay, well, this is the road map to fast. Are you ready to get on that road? Or are you really saying that you want to get it done as fast as possible, but really I got time to do it? So when I'm talking to clients and my staff is talking to clients, we're saying, okay, what do you need to do? Like an example of one of my business clients, he said, Steve, I need to get a new car. I went to go try to buy a car and they were going to jack up my interest rate. And I said, well, let me look at your credit reports. The reason why they're going to jack up his interest rates is because he had a whole bunch of medical bills. He had the deductible for the shoulder surgery, and then he had a whole bunch of little ones that were like $150. One was $51. I remember that, like in my head here. And then there was one for like $495, $650. Like he had a whole bunch of them for medications or whatever stuff that they had him do afterwards. But the big one was $2,100. That was all he had. He didn't even have any other collection. They were collections, but it was the medical collections. He didn't have any other stuff. Paid off his mortgage, all type of stuff. Credit cards were paid down. Everything was good. He had a few late payments. I said, you got to deal with that. But he was like, immediate. I need to get this stuff done. So I said, okay, you're saying immediate. So I looked at what's on your credit reports. This is what we got to do if you want immediate. And I was like, because when you tell me immediate, this is what we're going to do. We contacted all of the medical providers and said we want to work out deals. For any of them that were over, $200, we were like, hey, we want to work out a deal. Any of them that are under, I'm just telling them, hey, you just need to pay them. But for you that's listening, are you of the mindset to where if you came to me and you said, I need to do this because I want to get a house, I want to get a car, I need to do this stuff. Are you in the mindset to want to do this right here? Say you have $10,000 worth of debt and I tell you, hey, for sure, we can get this in 30 days if you pay $5,000. Are you in the mindset of that? Not to say that it would take $5,000, but the point I want to get across is that I want you to meet you. I want you yourself, your mind, your thought process to meet where you are at really in your mind. Like people say this all the time, but then, or I want your situation to meet where your thought process is. I'll rephrase that. I want your situation, which is on paper, which we would get from your credit reports, where you would be able to look at on your credit reports. to meet your thought process. And when those two meet, then you get to make the decision on, can I do it immediate? Like, are my expectations lining up with what would need to be done to make it an immediate process? Or are my expectations really lining up with, I got time to do this and it's going to be a process? Whenever we run into this is where most clients are at right here, is that they got collections, they got charge-offs, medical bills, or, other stuff on there, and it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time, because right here, basically what we're doing is we're settling accounts, removing old accounts, because let me just work this for you. If you got a medical, let's just say you got a medical bill here, it was a collection, they pay it, that's going to be removed. But let's just say that you had a collection that was a credit card, you had your credit card, it was with a collector that purchased the debt. Steve, you tell me, Steve, I got to get this house. I got to get my kids out. This landlord is driving me crazy. We got to get out of here. I got my down payment money. I found the house. They're saying I got to get this resolved. So you come to me and we say, okay, instead of doing what we would do for that credit card debt that was purchased with a collection company, we're gonna just say, hey, let's contact this credit card company. This collector. We're gonna make a settlement, get that removed, and then we're gonna go back to the charge-off that's on there with the original creditor and state two things to them. And that's what we would also do over here if you have time. But we would state two things to them. We would say, hey, this account, you either need to make it paid because you were paid by the collection agency that bought it from you. It's just like taking a settlement. If you sell it to a debt collector, you just took a settlement on that debt, and I want that corrected on my credit reports, or you could just choose to remove it. That's what we do right here. You remove it, or you put it as paid. You can put it for paid for less, whatever. It is not an open, unpaid account anymore. So you have to make that correction on there. That's what we're doing here with the immediate. If you have time, which most of you that are watching, you want to be here, but you're really right here. You're really right here. You got time, and I wish I could tell you how much time. That depends on your information that you have on your credit reports. So you're going to look at your collections, and then you're going to do a process of where you're going to challenge with the furnishers. And this is where you hear that big debt validation / verification process. And then you're going to also do that with the bureaus. And this is going to take some time. It's going to take some back and forth. Don't think that this is overnight. It's going to take some time. And then utilizing the information that you get here is where you can start to work on getting this stuff removed. With your medical bills, you need to make a decision on, because you utilize those providers, what type of debts they are, how much they are, and then you can start moving to do settlements. But keep in mind, any debt that's medical debt that's $499, they say $500, but it's $499 and under, needs to be removed off your credit reports. And you can also need to be careful of, if they shared your information with a debt collector to collect with the medical bills, you can perhaps get this forgiven if they, in a way, shared your information, which is a violation of the HIPAA Act, by showing what type of procedure you had. You could potentially, but that's a back and forth process. Again, over here, you might be saying, well, why didn't we do it here? Because the person really needs to go get what they need to get. So why let, $1,100, maybe $2,000 stand in the way of you being able to save thousands of dollars over time and to get the car that you want at the price that you want? These are all decision making processes and understanding where you're at and what your specific situation requires to be able to get your credit repaired. And so you would look at any violations on there. I got videos that talk about this, but you would look for any violations that they might have, and then worst case scenario, you move to settle these debts with removal. The charge-offs, you're gonna have to look at specifically what are the charge-offs for. You're gonna have to break down and see which ones have been sold, which ones are still maintained by the original creditor, and you can see if you have any options on settling those debts. Most of the time, it's going to be sold to a debt collector, and you're going to have to go through this process here of a lot of back and forth. It takes work to do that. But if you can get all of that done, if you get this stuff done, you understand which box that you're in, you could be over here sitting with an 800, 700 plus credit score. I'm here to tell you, this is my experience. This is the way it works. It takes work, but you would be right here having these types of scores. So, homework for the day. Homework for the day. We're going to do a real quick review. Repairing your credit from A to Z. We're going to get the reports, all 3 reports. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports. You can go to the website, the number 3 scores.com. Go there, www.your, and that's a 3, number 3, scores.com. Grab your credit reports, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports. You're going to review the full reports, personal data, addresses, job information. And you're going to review for inaccurate information, unfair information, duplicated information, collections, charge-offs. It could be write-offs also, bankruptcies, etc. Like the student loans that are duplicates, all of that type of stuff. For child support also. Then you're going to put together an action. You're going to put together a game plan, and you're going to take action on that. I got that kind of backwards right there. Next thing, repairing your credit from A to Z, you need to find out where you're at. What are your goals that you need to do right now? Do you have time? Or do you need to do something immediate? And then you look at your situation, and then you match your situation with your thought process. Because on paper, when you look at it, it might cost money that you don't have, or maybe you do have the money. And then you got to make that decision on, okay, if it's more immediate because I need to buy this house and get my kids out of this place or whatever you got to do, then you're going to be in the immediate bucket. But you need to understand that when you're in the immediate bucket, these are the things that you got to do to get this stuff done and resolved immediately. If you got time to do stuff, which is where most of you are at, then you're going to go through the processes where you're going to have the back and forth with the bureaus, the back and forth with the furnishers, figuring out what's going on with the collections. If you got medical bills, figuring out what you got going on with those, the student loans, all of that stuff. You put that stuff down on paper, and then you put a game plan into action to start dealing with it. And that's what it's going to take. But it takes the work here, but you're going to end up having those high scores that you want, that you've been dreaming about, that you want to get, that so you can go out and do whatever you want to do. All right, thank you for your time. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at creditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. It's exactly what I showed you here. It's just that all of the work that we do. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website, the number 3 scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations letter, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. The instructions are on there, but basically the statute of limitations letter is to stop debt collectors from coming after you for debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect in your state. It's different for every state. You can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com, so you can see the statute of limitations for your state. If the debt is not past legal statute of limitations, then I give you a cease and desist collection activities letter so you can go back and forth with them, or perhaps stop them right away from coming after you. The links are below this video for credit repair services, for the cease and desist collection activities letter, debt validation letter, and the statute of limitations letter. You can grab those. Links are below this video. Thank you for your time. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder